How y'all doing? You heard me? I'm on my way to have coffee. Coffee spelled backwards is E, fuck. And before we've had our coffee, we don't give E about anything.
Y'all, when I tell you the internet is in shambles, Kevin Gates really thought he did something when he came for Savannah. James, and baby, Twitter ate him up without a second thought. Like, sir, you just compared the queen of quiet strength to groupies? Oh, okay. Now let's rewind because this didn't just come out of nowhere. Kevin Gates sat down for a little casual conversation and ended up turning it into a full-on rant about why he would never want to be LeBron James. Not because of the pressure, not because of the fame, but because he claims he doesn't like the way Savannah looks at her husband. Excuse me? What? He really said, and I'm quoting loosely here, I wouldn't want to be LeBron because I don't like the way Savannah looks at him. Y'all, we'll get into the full unhinged monologue in a second, but let's just be clear.
Kevin Gates is doubling down on his controversial comments. Speaking on LeBron James's marriage to Savannah James, Kevin Gates says in an April 19th Instagram video,
Kevin Gates, of all people, said that. Now, before we dive into that wild mess, let's talk about the fact that this is the same Kevin Gates who has made headlines for talking about spiritually starting a car with his hands, for his open marriage, for his wild lyrics on stage, and most recently, for being booed up with Brittany Renner. That Kevin Gates has opinions about one of the most respected wives in sports. Got it. Let's unpack what really happened. Because this right here, it's not just a celebrity dragon. It's a messy tale of insecurity, black love, misogyny, and a man who clearly don't know when to shut up. So, first things first. Kevin Gates was on a podcast talking slick about relationships, and out of nowhere, he decides to shade Savannah. He says he watches how she does that pre-game handshake with LeBron and claims she looks unimpressed. He actually said it felt like she was the warden of a prison. He came there to police him. Yup, he said that. Then he took it further, talking about how white women in the audience look at LeBron. They're just in awe, drooling over him. He said he prefers that, the way they look at him, like he's magic. But let me pause right here, because this is where he lost me.
Sometimes the truth hurts, but it heals. I love you all. This is Kevin Gates, and me and Brittany, we approve this message. I love this for me.
Kevin, you're comparing a wife, a black woman who's been with LeBron since high school, raised a family, held him down through fame, pressure, and scrutiny, to random white women in the crowd. The same ones who don't know LeBron from Adam, but are giving him googly eyes because he's a billionaire. Well, the audacity is on sale today. But wait, there's more. Gates didn't stop there. He said, I couldn't be LeBron. That energy from Savannah? Nah, I wouldn't want that. I need to feel admired. I need to feel seen. Sir, how are you mad at a woman for not fangirling over her own husband at a playoff game when she literally been loving that man for 23 years? And before we even get to Twitter's response, Savannah herself had a little something to say. She went full Mariah Carey mode, posting,
I don't like the way Savannah look at LeBron. I like the way them white women look at LeBron. Like when soon as he walk out there, they just be like, oh, oh, oh.
Oh, what? Child, anyway. A classic shade post if I've ever seen one. Quiet, cutting, and cold. She basically said, you don't exist to me. And then the internet did what it does best. Twitter jumped in with the quickness. Kevin Gates out here wifing up Brittany Renner, but want to talk about Savannah James? You mad she not looking at LeBron like a groupie? Sir, she looks at him like a wife, 'cause she is one. This man would fold if he had to deal with a woman that didn't worship him on command. But let's keep it real. This is deeper than just a hot take. This is a full-on case study in why some men struggle with the idea of a black woman standing firm, not performing admiration 24/7. Like, Kevin, are you okay? You said you love LeBron and it hurts you to see him not celebrated by Savannah. What's really bothering you, boo? Let's talk about Savannah James for a second. This woman has never been caught in scandal, never dragged through mess. She stays in her lane, supports her man, protects her peace, and somehow that's the type of woman Kevin Gates sees fit to talk about. Meanwhile, let's take a look at Kevin. We've got open marriages, messy relationship drama, the Brittany Renner situationship, public spiritual delusions, a history of outlandish interviews where he talks about sexually explicit things that have no place.
The Right Where I'm Supposed to Be rapper even went on to describe Savannah as the warden of the jail, while he described LeBron's spirit as so loving and giving. And the basketball legend appears to respond to Kevin's comments in an April 22nd Instagram post.
In any religion or value system, this is the man that thinks he can critique someone else's marriage? Boy, if you don't. Let's talk hypocrisy. Kevin Gates said he needs a woman who looks at him like he's king. But Savannah isn't just looking at LeBron. She's been holding him up for decades. Through championship seasons, through scandals, through global fame. LeBron himself has said time and time again that he would not be where he is today without her. I wouldn't be who I am without her, he once said in an interview. She's my foundation. And let's not ignore this. Part of what made people really heated is the race aspect. Kevin specifically said he liked the way white women look at LeBron. That's when it stopped being just messy and started feeling like a shot at black women as a whole. You really said you'd rather be looked at like a fantasy by a stranger than loved like a king by a real one? Twitter was not having it. This man's internalized racism is screaming. Kevin Gates really just said white women look at LeBron better and thought we weren't gonna call that out. You want to be fetishized, not loved.
So I don't care if I got to fall out with somebody I love to get the results. We're going to get the results. But if anybody I'm a life coach and a guru. Y'all 24 hours. You smile. You smile at that black man. You smile at him. Hey, because you know one thing. Today is Easter.
And that's the root of it, isn't it? A man who confuses admiration with infatuation, who confuses lust with loyalty. Let me make this crystal clear. The way Savannah looks at LeBron is not for y'all to judge. That's a woman who knows every version of the man. The broke version, the struggling version, the teenage version. That's a woman who wakes up next to the real him. The breath stank, the stressed out, the emotionally drained LeBron, and still shows up. That ain't groupie love. That's grown woman love. And that's why she don't gotta be cheesing every time he walks by. He knows what's up. But Kevin wants that IG fantasy. He wants admiration on demand. And when he doesn't see it in Savannah, he gets triggered. Let's be real. This wasn't about Savannah at all. This was about Kevin. His need to feel desired, his projection, his need for constant validation. And that's why he went on this rant. Not because of LeBron, not because of love, but because a confident black woman standing tall in her role didn't match the image he wants to see. And baby, the internet dragged him for it. You said you'd die behind what you say? Bet. Then die behind this L. You mad at a wife while dating a woman who been for the streets? Make it make sense. Kevin Gates said he doesn't like how Savannah looks at LeBron. Bro, your girl looked at 15 other dudes this month. Well, it didn't stop there. People started pulling receipts on Kevin's past. That whole story about putting his hand on a car battery and starting it with his spiritual energy.
That reads, "Kings don't concern themselves with the opinions of peasants." Where to next, Queen? Let's get it. LeBron adds a black queen emoji at the end, along with a heart and an infinity symbol.
Bro, you want to be seen as wise, but you sound unwell. The man really once said, I put one hand on the hood, one on the battery, and the car started. I told her, speak nothing of this. Sir, we are tired. But what makes this even more wild is that he's sitting on podcasts talking mess about Savannah while simultaneously painting himself as some moral high ground. Sir, you're out here rapping about licking toes and doing all the things on stage that would make a church mother faint, and yet somehow Savannah James is the one you want to talk about. Let's be clear. LeBron and Savannah's marriage isn't perfect. No marriage is. But it's real. It's grounded. It's withstood pressure that would have crushed most couples. And no matter what, they've kept it offline. Quiet, solid. Meanwhile, Kevin Gates can't make it through a month without a new scandal or Instagram live moment. So let me end with this. Black women don't need to smile on command to prove they love someone. They don't need to put on a show for the sidelines. Savannah James been loving LeBron when nobody was watching. And that's why they're still here. Kevin Gates, maybe focus less on how Savannah looks at her husband and more on how your girl be looking at everybody else. 'Cause one thing's for sure, Savannah James doesn't have to prove anything to anybody.
The truth hurts, but it heals. And, Bron, I love you, because you my... And I already know she was just, you just gonna let him talk. Man, you had to, but behind closed doors, you hey, good game.
But Kevin, you just proved exactly why she would never look at you the way you want. Now, let's talk about the biggest irony in all of this. Kevin Gates is the same man who once went viral for literally preaching about being at peace, being loved, and protecting energy. He'll sit on stage, barefoot, cross-legged, talking about vibrations and healing crystals, but then gets triggered by a woman not smiling enough at her husband. How sway? It's given spiritual hypocrite. It's given namaste until I get insecure. Because let's be real. Everything Kevin said in that rant, that wasn't some deep soul talk. That was ego. That was jealousy. That was a man uncomfortable seeing another man loved in a way he doesn't understand. And you know what else people started noticing? Kevin's obsession with Savannah's facial expression at a basketball game exposes something way deeper. He doesn't recognize the kind of love that's silent, subtle, and seasoned. He's looking for fireworks, but Savannah and LeBron got a slow burning fireplace. Type: warm, consistent, safe. And that's not something someone like Kevin is used to. It's the difference between infatuation and investment. Let's break that down. Infatuation is what Kevin's talking about.
But I just want to say one thing.
Wide eyes, giggles, admiration on display for the crowd. But investment? That's what Savannah has shown. That's years of partnership, of weathering the storms, of raising kids, of riding through the noise. That's the kind of love that doesn't need to scream because it's already been heard loud and clear for over 2 decades. And if we really want to go there, let's talk about how society constantly pressures Black women to perform love, smile harder, clap louder, be the ride or die, be the cheerleader, be everything all the time. But the second a Black woman like Savannah moves in silence, holds it down without the dramatics, she gets called cold, uninterested, or in Kevin's words, the warden. Excuse you? That's why so many women were fired up about this, because Kevin didn't just insult Savannah, he insulted a whole type of love Black women have been showing for centuries. The type of love that doesn't need social media approval. The type that doesn't come with fanfare or filters. Just real ones doing real work behind the scenes. But here's the kicker. You got Kevin Gates, who's out here judging someone else's marriage while his own relationship has been a revolving door of confusion. Let's not forget, this man has publicly admitted to cheating, having an open marriage, being with other women while claiming he's spiritually grounded.
The truth hurts, but it heals. And, Bron, I love you. Long as you being celebrated, I don't care who don't like me. Long as you being celebrated, that's all I care about. Because you my and I love you. So I don't care if I got to fall out with somebody I love to get the results. We're going to get the results. But if anybody need, I'm a life coach and a guru. Y'all 24 hours.
And now he's in a situationship with Brittany Renner, who, no shade, has had her fair share of headlines and public scandals. You're calling out Savannah James while you're over here playing relationship roulette with Instagram's most controversial influencer? Make it make sense. One tweet said it best. Kevin Gates got the nerve to say Savannah ain't admiring her husband enough, while he admiring every IG baddie that blinks in his direction. And listen, this ain't about tearing Kevin down for his lifestyle. He grown. He can do what he wants, but don't throw stones at someone else's house when yours has a revolving front door and a blown out window. Now let's go even deeper. Because there's a reason people reacted so strongly to this. And it's not just because of Savannah James. It's because of what she represents. She represents Black love that survived. A couple that didn't fold under pressure. A woman who's been loyal, quiet, steady, not for clout, not for views, but because that's who she is. And when that kind of woman gets disrespected, it hits a nerve. Because too often, we see these silent, powerful Black women get overlooked, undervalued, criticized for not being flashy enough, not loud enough, not feminine enough. But what they are is consistent. And that scares the type of man who's used to chaos. Savannah is the antidote to the Brittany Renners of the world.
And then I was like, maybe I noticed shit that people don't notice. But I'm like, they was like talking about, what if you had LeBron money?
Not because one is better, but because they stand for opposite energies. One is public, provocative, unpredictable. The other is private, peaceful, and powerful in her silence. So when Kevin made those comments, he wasn't just exposing his preferences. He exposed his fears. He fears a woman who doesn't need him to feel powerful. He fears the kind of love that doesn't center around him. And more than anything, he fears not being admired, even if it means disrespecting someone else to get that attention. And that is where the internet drew the line. Because for all the black women who've held it down, who've supported their men, raised their kids, built empires from the shadows, hearing Kevin call Savannah's love cold was a slap in the face. You want admiration? Start admiring the women who make that admiration possible. Start admiring the wives who hold down the fort even when they're not in the spotlight. Start admiring the women who don't post every romantic gesture, but who show up every day in real life. Who does admire that? LeBron James. Let's not forget, this is a man who once said he started building his legacy because he wanted to make Savannah proud. A man who credits her with raising their kids, running their household, and being the one constant in a world full of chaos. That is admiration, and it's not loud, but it's loyal. Meanwhile, Kevin Gates is on IG Live giving sermons about loyalty while hopping in every pretty face's DMs. It's a spiritual retreat. Boy, bye. So, here's how we're going to wrap this up. Kevin Gates, you said you die behind every word you speak. Then stand on this L. Because you didn't just misread Savannah's expression. You misread the entire definition of love. You confused admiration with attention. You mistook quiet power for coldness. And you projected your own emptiness onto a woman who's been filled with grace from day one. Savannah James didn't need to respond with a tweet storm. She didn't need to clap back with a Notes app apology. All she needed was one post. Oh, what? Child anyway. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is how a queen handles a clown.